the meeting to order. By my watch, it's 3:35, which is pretty good. I'll start off with reading we'll have a moment of reflection. Beg your pardon. Okay, I will now read the Indigenous Acknowledgement Statement. I would like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as the traditional stewards of this land. This municipality is located within the boundary of Treaty 18 region of 1818, which is the traditional land of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wyandot peoples. Okay, we have a fairly brief, hopefully a brief meeting today, and get Joanne away by 4:30, which is good. If we can, we'll carry on. We have enough bodies now. So we can jump straight into looking at the agenda. You've all received the agenda. Are there any additions that anyone would like to bring forward? It is an open meeting. Hearing none, can I have someone move that this special agenda of August the 20th, 2021 be approved as circulated?
I'll move. It's Rob. I'll move.
I see Joanne's hand.
Seconded.
All in favor? Any against? It's carried. I assume at this point nobody has any pecuniary interest in general nature thereof. If you have, let us know now or fill us in later. Okay, moving on to item C, we've got three items, three pieces of equipment to worry about. Can I have someone move to receive the following documents as listed in the printed agenda? That's admin number 21.20, governance 21.12, and admin again 21.21. Someone to move?
Move it, Joanne.
Joanne, seconder?
Lori.
Thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Those items are received now into the operation. Now, you've all received the minutes of the, let me see, the June 17th meeting. Are there any, and you've read them and reviewed them, etc. Are there any errors or omissions? Now is the time to bring them up. Hearing none, can I have someone move that this board approve as circulated the minutes of the June 17th, 2021 board meeting? Someone to move?
I'll move that. Dorothy.
Dorothy, and seconder?
I see Rob's hand.
Good. You can, I can't. Good. All in favor? Against? Carried. That was okay. All right. I just got a question mark. Is there anything, it's a good time right now. Is there any business arising from those minutes that anyone would like to mention? Hearing none, we'll move on. We have no deputations, I assume, Sabrina?
None.
Do we have any public logged in, I mean?
We do not. Nobody has requested access in.
And nobody, is anyone writing to us?
Not this month.
Okay, we'll move on to section F then. Joanne, you make it away faster than you thought.
Thank you.
Sorry, will somebody say something? Okay.
Joanne said thank you.
Oh, not very quick this afternoon. It's so hot. All right. Item number F1. Let's get up to date on that. I think that's yours, Sabrina.
I'm just checking to make sure that my screen just went up, so we should have the admin report for the action plan.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. We are just over halfway through the year. We have completed 53.7% of the action plan, which is 44%, 44 out of our 82. Many of them are well on their way and are just identified to happen in December. So we are working well. I'm not sure if anybody has any specific questions. I can take those if there are. One thing that is just of note is you'll see on the first page some of the statistics of where we are. So you'll see that C1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and 0.6 all have statistics on our social media. Some of those have been completed and others are very close to being completed. So we said that we would hit 700 on the Twitter fans. We're at 692, so we should achieve those in the month. Again, we're at 1475 on Facebook. We were hoping to hit 1500, so we should be there shortly. And then our e-newsletter subscriptions, we should achieve by the end of the year, definitely at 1320. We have almost 200 more people to subscribe that would be needed. So we are doing well. If there's any questions, I'll take them.
No questions? Okay, thank you, Sabrina. We'll move on to item number F2 now. Listen, don't listen, pardon me, my language. I'm going to pass this over to Laurie because she and Sabrina are the key persons in this particular subject. Am I right?
Yes, and we also have Mary Dodge with us as well if there's questions for her.
Oh, good. Okay. Laurie?
Well, actually, Sabrina, Mary put together a very good update for us. And if you go switch to page 2, it has the update since the last report. So you can see there's been a lot of work done in the micro surveys. They did a staff consultation. But the main part, I would say, is the community consultation or conversations that Mary, our roving librarian, has been engaged in. And you can see here the numbers that people who she's spoken with. And I believe there was also a email that came out to the board that gave further detail. So, I mean, if you want to hear a bit more from Mary, who's actually the one conducting these surveys, these conversations, that would be great. I know that there's a plan to go to the farmers market monthly, and there's also plans for the Beaver Valley Fall Fair. And the other thing that we talked about at the meeting were the plans for the town hall. And I believe that information is in more detail in the key messages. So I decided I'd leave it at that. I don't know if we want to hear from Mary, because I think the conversations she's been having have been very interesting, or if you just want to go with questions.
Well, I do have a question for Mary, I guess, directly. Are you ever coming to the East End?
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to visit all of the communities of the town of the Blue Mountains. And so for our rural communities, we have them coming up, and we've got some special ideas planned for our rural communities. So we've got some mailbox parties coming up for them to have community conversations with our more rural communities of our area. We've been to Heathcote already. We visited Cullipore this week, so you'll be able to hear about that coming soon. Laurie Forest is also going to be visited. We're going to be stopping by Castle Glen, Red Wing, Slabtown, a bunch of our small communities. And so we are trying to reach out into the rural communities and talk to as many folks as we can and make connections and say hello and let them know about strategic planning and find out what their ideas are for their community and for their glam.
Tell me, Mary, more about how you do this. Do you wear a hat in your head or something and say, I'm from the library type of thing?
Yeah, I go out. I have got a staff t-shirt. So I go out in a staff t-shirt and dressed weather appropriate. So sometimes, you know, make sure you have your sneakers with you. And so when I was at Heathcote, we partnered with Blackbird Pie Company, and they were able to set me up right there in their parking lot. And we had folks stop by and say hi to us. We even had one person slam on their brakes as soon as they saw me, reverse back and stop and have a lovely 20-minute conversation with me about the needs of that area. And so, yeah, there's been lots of interest. People are very curious when they see me out and about in the more rural areas of the town, and they are eager to have a conversation and share their ideas with me. And so it just, all it's taking right now is a simple hello and being in the community.
Anyone have any questions for Mary or?
I just have a thank you for her for this intrepid role.
Has she been out your way, Joanne?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'll stop by.
She might make you coffee. You
I
never
think-
know.
The best hot spot would be the Georgian Winery, Georgian Bay Winery.
All right, I'll add it to my list.
And I
Have you-
believe the owner actually lives in Castle Glen, and that's access to Castle Glen perhaps.
Ah,
Why don't you, Mary, why don't you just drop by the Craigleaf Tennis Club, which has got 300 members. They're not all there at the same time. Very nice lady is the tennis pro. I'll be glad to introduce you, but I'll tell her you're coming. And she lives in Castle Glen someplace.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, you should stop by Nipissing Ridge Tennis Club as well.
Yeah, come to
There's,
think of it, you're right. Yeah.
There's a mixed round robin on Mondays and Fridays at 3 o'clock. Those would be good. Either those two times would be good.
Perfect. Thanks.
So that was one of the things that we were going to ask the board members specifically. If you are involved at a club, with the social group, with anything like that, if you would like to make the initial reach out, 1 second. Sorry, just getting whoever was unmuted to mute here. We had a bit of an echo. So for the board members, whoever it is that is in a club or in a program like that, if you would like to do an initial reach out, we will come. So Mary will come, but if it's Morris's Tennis Club, for example, that you can do the reach out to the tennis club to see if we are able to come in, and then we'll just meet people outside as they're coming in and out and have conversations.
Mary and Sabrina, I will talk to my wife, who is much more involved than I am. Okay. And
The social planner.
well, not in that way, no, but you'll find out as you go along. I just mentioned that's all, because I always think of, the Craigleaf people are kind of on the east end of things, aren't they? And yet they have been sort of vocal at some time. Okay. Is there anything else for Mary or Laurie? Or
Mr.
questions?
Chair, it's Rob. I just wondered, what specific things are you hearing about the library? Because we're getting good information about people's comments about the town, but what about the library and the depot? It was an interesting one there that somebody didn't know that the depot was right across the road and was open. So that's the kind of thing that's interesting to know. So I just wondered if there are specific things you're hearing about the library that are outside of what we already know.
We are hearing some specific things about the library, but this phase is really looking, we're really wanting to gather public knowledge around social issues and concerns right now. In our focus groups and our post-it note activities and our one-to-one interviews, that's where we'll get more library glam rather specific. So our galleries, our libraries, our archives, and our museums will get more glam specific and start asking more direct questions specifically around our glam and what people would like. Right now we're looking, I'm trying to gather public knowledge on all of their concerns, all of their interests, all of their needs. So we can get a really fulsome picture about the context in which they live their lives. Because it's often when we have concerns or if there's opportunities for improvement, it's typically through the context in which we understand how. So how are we going to fix it? How are we going to be solution makers? And it's with that context. So I'm really trying to gather that public knowledge, that context now. So these conversations, it's really that general context, public knowledge gathering right now. And then we'll start to narrow down our questions and our conversations with folks as we go into phase 2, where we start to do more of the focus groups and consultation process. So this is just what land or what environment in which are we looking at strategic planning. And so has the community had a cultural shift since we last did strategic planning? Those contexts of how. I don't know if that's helpful.
I have one comment, if I may, Morris.
Of course.
I had a very intense conversation with a former teacher librarian who lives in the area, and felt that the library should be open every night to accommodate high school students. And I broached the issue of full-time versus part-time workers and scheduling and costs. And she really wasn't interested in that. She just felt that we should have this available. Unfortunately, I did not have the stats of how many high school students actually access the library in the evenings, and if there is such a demand.
One thing that I think has come out of this, when we're talking with people and they're talking about sort of income issues in the community, we know, I think around this table, that there's a misnomer understanding that the town of the Blue Mountains is a wealthy only community. And we know that there is a wide range of income levels, parent groups. So that's something that people have been talking about, that we're asking about programming. So as we know that some of our key partners are saying people that they represent can't attend a program, even if it's, a $5 program, being able to ask somebody as we're having conversations where their stance is on that sort of social justice issue that they're bringing up in their interest of what's needs to be addressed in the community. It comes back to the library staff, and immediately the library staff, without waiting for strategic planning to be done, are now looking at how do we put onto our forms the ability to donate or sponsor a child if you register for a program. So instead of you being able to register your 2 children at $5 each, which is a $10 program, they can also add on a 3rd child so that we can support, whether it's in partnership with BVO or another group, or whether it's children that we know that don't get to attend programs because of a cost. So I think some of these community conversations are the first level of that. We may not be asking, would you be willing to sponsor another child? But as they're talking about the need for us to look broadly at social justice issues in our community and how we are a community of communities with various income levels, and we need to be responsive to the people in our community who aren't able to participate because of various equitous barriers. This is something that we're taking away right away. So I think Mary is completely right that the picture right now is about getting broad understanding, but then being able to look at that and figure where do we fit into that piece, and going back to community members with some opportunities for us to find some solutions to some of those issues that we naturally fit as a niche, as a GLAM.
Now, I then have a question for Rob, if I may. Rob, does the town have any anyone doing similar work that Mary is doing? Anything
We have
similar?
all kinds of, in fact, we have people complaining we do too many surveys, but our communications department and recreation department and so on, that's why I asked the question, because we already have all this information. We hear it all the time through the surveys that we do. And they do everything from broadband to public facilities and all kinds of things like that. So in the context of the library, I think this is valuable information. And we can certainly share it with the communications department to add to what they're already doing. But we hear this all the time. It's kind of interesting that people don't want the beach areas and landscaped areas to be too well groomed, but then there are other people that want food trucks, lemonade stands, and a Ferris wheel. So those are the kind of things that we hear all the time. There are always several sides, and the socioeconomic issue we've just heard about that with the rural broadband it's one of the things we're going to have to look into is how much of it is because rural broadband isn't available, how much of it is because people can't afford to pay for it. So it's the very same issue that the library is dealing with. So yes, we collect all this information already, and this will just bolster what we already have.
I appreciate what you're saying, Rob. My thought was not so much about the surveys, because I've mentioned those in previous meetings. It was, does the town have a counterpart on the streets, like Mary, listening to opinions, not signing surveys?
We have a phone booth that we take around that somebody mans, that they talk to people in the area, downtown and so on. So yeah, we're doing similar things around town.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Because it is an upcoming year, isn't it? An election year.
Not yet.
Well, it's got nothing to do with the election. It's information we need to know before we decide what facilities and so on. We have a lot of master planning going on, transportation plan, leisure activities plan, and so on. And that's all part of the consultation, public consultation process, the sustainability plan, and so on. And there's a lot of consultation going on through public meetings and various meetings with groups, even coffee houses where we invite the public to come in, listen to music and make comments while they're there about sustainability programs. So we have a lot of things going on like this.
Mary, how long will you be in phase one or whatever it is right now? Approximately another month, week?
Yeah, we've got until probably close to the end of September. September is one of those transition months where you're still doing phase one and you're starting phase two. But I will be continuing community conversations as an ongoing thing. So we've really ramped things up here in phase one, and then we'll be just doing our ongoing community conversations. This is something that will be ongoing.
Good, good. Anyone else got any questions of either Mary? Well, Mary, I guess directly, if you wish.
So a few key dates, Mr. Chair. September 22nd, we know, is going to be our town hall. That is technically about the end of phase one. The purpose of the town hall is not actually community consultation, but it's consultation on consultation, which seems a little strange, but it's that last opportunity for the public to come in and tell us how they would like us to complete the rest of the strategic plan. We will then be releasing a 4-page board newsletter that will be printed in the Blue Mountain Review in the October paper. And that will wrap up everything that people have told us on how to proceed, including where will be the dates of focus groups, how to register, and basically all of the main events that will be happening October, November, December.
Good.
So that will be sort of a big event. At this point, it is scheduled for a face-to-face. So we have registration open. It will either, depending on how things are happening at the time, be outside on the lawn, or if numbers are small enough and we can do it safely at distance, we'll be in the gallery. And of course, if our community numbers in the pandemic raise to a point that we shouldn't be doing anything face-to-face, even outside, we will transition and do a virtual program.
Okay. All righty. You happy, Mary? If you've given us enough information, do you think? I think you have, but good stuff. Okay, can we move on then to the next item? Which is, well, it's F3. And I don't know how to handle this particular item really, but it's been circulated and a few of us made comments to back to Sabrina and with adjustments, and you've now got the essence of the final draft of this document, which I think Sabrina should be a lawyer. Maybe she is a lawyer. Jesse, do you have any comments in this? Because from a legal point of view, does it look good?
See there?
Jesse's volume isn't up or something, because I see his lips moving but can't hear anything.
Do you want to, well, okay, we'll move on then. Sabrina, do you want to speak to this particular subject?
Certainly. So this has come out of about a year's worth of work with the town. Initially in the 21 budget process, November and January 2020 and 21, the town had brought forward the proposal that Blue Mountains Public Library as an organization should not be coming to council asking for individual line items, being that it goes through the board, they should be approving an amount. That is fully legal and functional according to the Public Libraries Act, because there have been some questions on how that works. So what we've done is we went back and forth a few times through our executive meetings with the mayor, deputy mayor, CAO, with our chair, our vice chair, and myself. Then there were a number of meetings between Ruth and I, the director of finance, and we have drafted this agreement, which brings it back to the point that we went back and forth with the town trying to figure what the model would be. And it settled on being 6% of the previous year's tax levy. So that was what we've all agreed would be. Then there were some nuances that we wanted to make sure were clear, both to protect us and to protect the town. So section 3 is looking at those. So we wanted to make sure that the 6% did not include things that we weren't prepared to have in a typical budget. So the maintenance is still on the town. Interfunctional transfers are not part of this budget, which it wasn't before. Those would be add-ons. Any expansion needs, major capital development charge pieces, all of those are separate when we choose to do major improvements or new building. All of those are a separate budget that we are talking about. And of course, amortization, we want to make sure that we're not having annual loss taken off of our budget. And none of these would have been different than what the previous budgets would have included. They would not have included those pieces. Additionally, it made sure that the town had some protections, that we are doing things that the funds are intended for. So the funds are intended to cover our expenses according to the MOU, which is our staffing, our operational, and our, most people would consider it our minor capital, but the town refers to it as capital, which is our books, our furniture, no major improvements, just the typical things that are in our budgets. And of course, if we were to use it outside of areas, you know, we decide that the board is going to go to Jamaica for a board retreat, then those may be things that put us in a breach. So really our typical business is all included in that. We also have the protection in here that if anything was to happen, that is a outside need, such as the most likely piece that could happen immediately is 8.1. And that's that the town adjusts the TBM salary grid, which includes our employees, that the board would make a funding request to the town outside of the 6%, saying, this is something that we need an addition put in. So if it's the typical 1% that we're having all the time, those are things we're building into our budget, and it's based on the tax year. But if the salary grid was to move our library specialist, for example, from a grade 2 to a grade 4 or a grade 5, that is a significant change in the budget that would be outside of our ability to manage within a typical number, and we would need to go back to the town. Otherwise, it would be included in our budget. It also gives us the ability at any point, if there is some kind of need that is outside of our typical budget, that we can still go back to the town. So it wouldn't be those, everyday items, but one of the things we've talked about and was actually included in the $300,000 request 2 years ago that we thought would happen over a number of years was signage. So if a new sign was being requested for Ellie Shore, for example, that's at this point budgeted at about $55,000, it wouldn't be something that we could take out of our budget. It would be a request made to the town to be able to support. So there could be some of those one-off pieces, and that is written into this contract to protect us with options. Outside of that, it's a very stable planning, which was the biggest thing. The idea was that we were going to have 6% of whatever the previous year's tax levy is. So in this case, when the budget was passed in the winter of 2021, we know at that point what next year's budget would be. So we know currently what the 2022 budget is because we already know what happened with the tax levy. And in a number of months, we'll have an idea of what the budget would be then for 23. So we're always able to be budgeting and planning ahead, which is a sustainable way of running an organization.
Thank you, Sabrina. You certainly got a handle on this particular thing. You've all had a chance to look at this document. If we as a board can approve it, agree with it and approve it, we send it through Sabrina to council on the 24th, I think you said?
It is on the agenda for the first item on Tuesday, yes.
Okay, and then assuming, well, I don't want to assume anything, but providing they approve it, providing council approves it, it comes back to us, and who signs it on our end? You and I?
Assuming it goes through committee of the whole,
Yeah.
it will then go to council, and
Yeah.
then that would be having, I'm going to assume, the mayor and CAO with the chair and CEO signing, yes.
Okay. Now, this is your opportunity, everyone. Yes, Jesse, I'm glad to hear from you. Do you have anyone get any questions? Jesse? Jesse, there is something wrong with your audio. We can't hear you. Can anyone help Jesse with his audio?
Jesse's not muted. I think it's just a microphone issue.
No. Can I help you, Jesse?
Is it possible, Jesse, that you've just muted your computer itself? So maybe try your volume controls on your computer. Your other option, I suppose, is to go to the chat function and type what you want to say.
So
Yeah,
the
wow,
bottom of the
thank you.
screen, if you move your cursor, it should pop up with a bar, one of which will say chat on it. And it defaults to type it to everyone, so I can read it off when it comes through.
Or Sabrina's is another option that she, or I should say Morris, that he calls somebody and someone could just pass it through.
I'm afraid I'm no help.
Oh, Jesse's just went to mute, so I wonder if it now it goes to unmute.
I did have this problem a little while ago that
Oh, I think I just heard Mrs. Glass's voice. Oh, now they're frozen. Jesse, try speaking now. No.
Sabrina, could Jesse not just call in?
Jesse, I'm just going to send you the call-in information. It was in the Outlook calendar, but I'll send it again.
And then he can phone.
Yes.
Oopsie.
Joanne, are you at the depot?
No, I'm, I'm
You
on
have
my,
the same colors as the depot.
no, isn't it sad that it's the best I could come up with?
I was thinking that earlier. I wondered.
I
except for
thought
the
you were getting
corner,
Wi-Fi. Yes.
No, I have a red house. At the time, it was the only red house. So it was a good indicator, except the guy across the street changed his to red.
I think those are the colors that Canadian National used to use. That's why the depot was painted that color at one time.
Ah, okay.
Okay, we have any action with Jesse, Sabrina? Has he?
Nothing yet. I don't know if you want to
Jesse, can you
hold back or move on.
Well, hang on a sec. Jesse, can you hear me? Good. Nod once. Is there any way you can communicate to Sabrina by telephone?
I did send the call-in information to be able to call right into this meeting by email.
Jesse, how about if we just leave you aside for just a few minutes, and I'll talk to the other people. They might talk to me, and we'll come back to you. Just keep nodding. Okay. I forget where I was. Jesse held up his hand. Does anyone have any questions? Any other questions of Sabrina about this document? The what do you call it? The funding agreement. Yes.
So there are some issues that could come up, and I do want the board to be aware, nothing is ever a guarantee. Yes, it gives us stable funding. There is always the chance that the tax levy drops. I would find that to be less likely that we would have significant drops in our taxation. But if the positive of the county taxes ever being spread a little bit more equitous across the various municipalities across the county, that could impact us. And then the other thing to keep in mind is if there was ever a major issue in the community, that of course it would impact our taxation. And in that case, I would assume all departments would be in sort of a crisis mode across the town and not just the library being sacrificed. So I think that it is an equitous way of doing it. It's not ever going to be simple and perfect. We're not looking to take advantage and have something that's more, you know, beneficial to one party than another. But I do want the board to be aware that there is always an issue that anytime you lock into something, there is the possibility that it's not working. So this is a 3-year. It has the ability of being renewed automatically if neither party, us or the town, file at the end of the 3 years to have it either amended or ended. So we do have the ability to not have to keep going through this again, but at the same point, if it's not working, we do have an out.
Good. Anyone else comments or anything, questions? This is our opportunity, you know. Rob?
I think it offers some protection from a council that maybe is less supportive of the library. And that would be my biggest worry, is that council decides that there are priorities elsewhere and cuts back on library spending. So I think it offers some protection from that, and that is satisfying to me.
Joanne, did you want to say something, Joanne?
No, I've lost the picture. I don't know why.
Well, sooner or later we'll be getting back face to face. Okay, Laurie, I know you had some earlier comments and you're happy with it.
Yeah, I did my comments by email, and
Yeah.
they were all, I mean, there's a couple of typos that haven't been addressed yet, but I imagine they'll happen before we see the final version, but they were not substantive. And the other questions I had were really had to do, I understood the intent, I just wasn't sure that the wording was terribly clear, but there weren't any objections to what was being said. I just thought they could be a bit clearer, but I think maybe it was a little bit past that moment because it had already gone to legal by the time we saw it. But again, it wasn't anything I disagreed with. I just thought a little bit more clarity would have made it a bit better.
Good, thank you. Dorothy, do you have anything to comment on it? Dorothy?
Yeah, of course. I'm wondering, and I can't think of a scenario where this would apply, but by mutual agreement, opt-out clause.
I'm sorry, I missed most of that, what you
Yeah.
said, Dorothy.
Did
you want to say it again?
I think that
Well,
Dorothy
what I
talked
was-
about a
what I was
mutual.
suggesting, yeah, okay. Opt-out clause. Stance under which we would want to trigger that, but just in, it's maybe a little belt and suspenders, just to have that assurance so that if neither party was happy with how the agreement was implemented or the impact, that we could earlier. And perhaps that's something Jesse could comment on.
Well, Jesse still seems to be having a few problems, maybe.
But 2.2 does allow us with a 6-month notice to get out. So Dorothy, you thinking it should be something shorter than that?
Either party. No, actually, I've read this 3 times and I missed that.
I think the important part from my point of view is we have.
I think 6 months is probably planning, and I'm with that.
And if I may, the reason for not having easy ways to just end it is that if you know, members of the community complain that the library is getting too much funding, for example, because they decide we should take a cut. We don't want this to be an opportunity that we sign a 3-year agreement that ends in 3 months. We want this to be something that we're going to work through, and that if it's not working, we should be able to come back as a board and a council and find the agreement that does work, but not necessarily be one of those situations that you've gone through all the effort to create an agreement that everybody knows they can just throw out next month.
Okay, I was starting to say it's
All good.
sort of important that we get a document before council, committee of the whole, next Tuesday. So if you want to change it, now's the time to change it, but we really should be sending something forward.
Mm.
Would you not
It is a
agree?
case of we're either approving this or we are canceling the presentation, because this was sent to the board 2 weeks ago, which was the point where we would have needed to make corrections to go to legal before it went to council. It is already public. It is already in the hands of council for the meeting on Tuesday. So at this point, we are either approving or we're saying we are not ready to approve and asking council to defer this matter.
Everyone happy with that?
Yes,
Thank you. Okay, if we can, Sabrina has put at the bottom of my
Yep.
agenda here,
Yes.
a suggestion, a suggested motion. And I was wondering, Sabrina, would it not be better to break that into 2 motions, that we approve it, and then we, in essence, direct you to present this to council on the committee of the whole?
Certainly.
Which I'm sure you can word it. Now, the other thing too is, I would suggest the section or the line you have here, providing the agreement is approved by council with no material changes, this document. I suggest that proviso should not be in the motion. I mean, it's a sort of an understanding we have that if there's no material changes, it can be signed, we can sign it as we've approved it.
Okay.
You see what I'm driving at? That line is not an essential part of the motion, in my opinion. So would you care to give us maybe another, just break that long motion into 2? And I will lead off by saying I move that this board approve the Town of Blue Mountain Public Library funding agreement as presented. That's period. I'm moving that we approve this thing as presented. May I have a seconder?
I second it.
Joanne. All in favor? Would you either raise your hand or say yes?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes,
Anyone against? That motion is carried. We have now approved that document. May I now have someone to move that we direct the CEO to participate in the funding agreement presentation to council on August the 24th and subsequent council meetings. Someone to move that?
I'll move that.
I'm sorry, screen jumped on me there. Who was that? Dorothy?
Dorothy?
Dorothy, I'll move that.
And a seconder? Did we have a seconder?
I don't mind seconding it. I'm just not sure it's necessary, but it doesn't do any harm.
Well, let's do it anyway, shall we? All in favor?
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Carried? No one against, eh? Okay, is that satisfactory, Sabrina?
Certainly.
Thank you. Well, we've got 5 minutes of more of Joanne's time. Let's move on, shall we? We've nothing to do in F4, F5. We've no other business plan that I'm aware of. Round table. I was curious, Sabrina, why all the names are listed there.
We just list the names of our members. If you would like to go around, if anybody has things to say,
Oh, I see
helps
what
us
you
in our
mean.
note taking. That's right. Any roundtable materials that you'd like to share. And if
I have
none,
not-
then
I
none.
have nothing to share. I just argue. Laurie, you're
Uh,
next in the list.
Just want to say, I think that was, our names were added this time around as part of our community conversations that, we were to take, we're going to get some report forms, which haven't come out yet, so we can record our conversations. And I think the point of this item on the agenda was for us to share some of the information that we've received. So we still need those forms to get that launched.
So it's premature putting the names on there. Is that correct?
We will have those out right away.
Okay. Alrighty. Sabrina, you've got some special events listed there. Any particular ones you want to mention?
No, we just try to list so that everybody knows what is happening in the community for our programs here at Blue Mountains Public Library.
Okay.
I think the biggest one, of course, which is not listed because it happens after the next board meeting for the board's purpose, of course, is the September 22nd town hall.
Okay, since you've listed those, fine, we'll just move on to key messages, if I may. Sorry, key messages. I was pleasantly surprised to learn about the funding for the depot.
Yes.
Yes, so we were not able to put that on here, of course, because it had not been made public yet. But I will add the Vibrant Spaces bit about the 424,000. That is a fantastic funding for our depot. The
Mhm.
other thing that I will add, which happened after this was released, is a notice that our most recent real history film project, the Fossils film, has been selected for the RAM Film Festival, which is Rovere Archaeological Film Festival in October in Italy. So
Wow.
it was one more of our accolades for our film. So that is going to be showing in their film festival there.
Good. What do we need?
That's
Do we
amazing.
need, I need someone to move that this board approve the release of these key messages as updated. Someone to move?
Can I speak before you do that? I noticed the one about this agreement with the town, I think says that it's been approved. And I think that's just because that's what you're anticipating and it's not to be released until later in the week.
Yes.
Okay, just double checking. Thank you.
And of course, if there's any changes that come forward from the town's end, we will, I'll be in contact with the board anyways to make sure this doesn't go out until, they usually happen about the end of the month, but to make sure that we have any changes there so that you're well aware.
Yeah, okay. So someone to move the release of these messages, key messages?
I'll move.
Thank you,
I'll-
Rob. Seconder?
Joanne?
Joanne, all in favor? That's carried.
Yes.
Before we go any further, Jesse, where are you? There you go. Jesse, can we hear you? No, we can't hear you.
Oh dear.
Well, it happens, you know, when you rely on this modern technology.
That's
Our
why
next-
I'm in actually our main area right now. I have no sound on Zoom on my computer. So it happens, it does happen. I had to switch computers quite quickly and kick people out of their workspaces.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, you're the boss.
I think we'll take this moment to leave and see you all soon.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. Our
Joanne.
next meeting is scheduled for September the 16th at 2 o'clock. It is now 4:30 exactly by my watch, and without further ado, I now adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Sorry, it's a
Thank
little
you.
disjointed, but